Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and today I want to show you this Craftsman Max Access Kit. So what this is basically a deep socket set, but instead of using deep sockets, it's just a hole in the head of the wrench. So it comes standard and metric as well, and I'll put links in the description where you can find something similar to this, but this is what it looks like. And so it has the really nice pear-shaped handles that are really smooth. I've really enjoyed using these ones. So here's a regular Craftsman wrench, as you can see. And so it's very apparent the big gaping hole in the top of the head, and it is reversible. And so the pear shape also comes on other ratchets that you may have seen. And so look at the thickness though here, as we'll get into. That's what this tool does best, is acts as a deep socket and can really get into some deep places. And so here's what the sockets look like. They're a little funny shaped because they go into the head of the ratchet like this. And so this one I believe was a 3/8 inch drive, and they also had a 1/4 inch. But if you had a fastener like this that was really long, as you can see, you would kind of go through it like this. And so instead of needing a deep socket, you could have it go through. And even if it was something that was really long like this, as you could see, you could get in there because it passes through the head of the ratchet. So I thought that was a pretty good idea. And so by comparison, if we take here a 7/8 inch deep socket, and we put in the 7/8 inch size as well for this Max Access one, it's very incredible if you look at them side by side, the difference. Look at how shallow this one is if you have to get into some tight spaces. And sometimes even a deep socket is too shallow. So if we look at this fastener, which is really long, and let's take a deep socket here. Let's imagine that we had to use this to get onto the end of it. If it happened to be that long, you'll notice as we put this through here, that by the time we got onto where we would turn it, that fastener is actually coming into where the head of the ratchet would be. And so it wouldn't even work. So as you can see here, it's bottomed out before it's got there. So at this point, maybe you'd try to use an open-end wrench or something that would go through it. But just for using this tool, for example, you can see we could put this right through here, and it wouldn't matter how long the fastener is. It can go right over it and go on to where you would need it to go. So there's really not a lot of places you might need this tool, but as an example, I'll show you one here I like on the Mustang. Right here for this idler pulley, you can see we have some power steering lines and some things coming through here, so it makes it really hard to get onto. So you could use a shortened regular socket, but I really liked using these on the pulleys when I was changing them out on the car for these idlers. So as you can see, here's the new one, and it fits down in here just right with plenty of room. Now the bolt for this doesn't require a deep socket, so you could use just a traditional wrench for it, a regular socket wrench. And so here's a normal one, same size, and as you can see, you can get down in here just as easily. And so it would really come in handy more if you had a stud or something that was bigger coming off of that pulley that you needed a deep socket but couldn't use a deep socket for example. So like these other fasteners here, as you can see, you kind of need a deep socket because they have little studs that are sticking out. And so a wrench didn't really fit in there. A deep socket, again, makes it kind of tough to get in here between the power steering line. And so you could resort to either an open-end wrench or this tool, for example, goes in there pretty well and gets on there nicely. You can also run into instances where you can get a deep socket to fit in here just perfectly, but then when you start to loosen it and the bolt starts to come out, now you're hitting lines, and so you actually do need it to be more shallow to get the bolt out. And here's a small clip from my pulley bridge removal video. And you can see it's kind of hard to get in on this one, and there's a stud, so you almost need a deep socket. You have to kind of wiggle around between the radiator line. I have a set of these, and they work really well because it acts as a deep socket because you can go all the way through the head of it and still get on there. So these kits also have extensions as well. They look kind of funny, but they're also hollow, of course, so that makes it so that you can just hook this on here and put it right in. And so that makes it nice and accessible if you needed to pass through something and use an extension for where you're ratcheting, if you needed to be farther away from the object that you were trying to remove the fastener. So anyway, just helpful tool, and I've enjoyed having it. I don't use it every time I work on the car, but it is something that's useful to have when you need, basically a deep socket wrench, but you need something a little more shallow to get down in there. So let me know in the comments what you think. If you've used this before, I really liked it for the pulley bridge on the Cobra and some of those studs that were in there. It came in handy, and it was a really nice tool to use. I don't even know that Craftsman makes this anymore. Let me know if they do or not. And I'll put some links in the description and some similar stuff. But as always, thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe and check the video description for a playlist on more of the tool reviews. Thanks, guys.